First count, nature of offense, crime against the Jewish people, an offense under section 1A1 of the Nazis and Nazi collaborators punishment law 5710, 1950. The accused, together with others, during the period 1939 to 1945, caused the killing of millions of Jews in his capacity as the person responsible for the execution of the Nazi plan for the physical extermination of the Jews, known as the final solution of the Jewish problem, Auschwitz. Millions of Jews were exterminated in this camp from 1941 until the end of January 1945, in gas chambers and in crematoria, and by shooting and hanging. The accused directed the
Skygger har fyldt meget af mit liv. Jeg har altid haft en indre kamp med mørket og lyset. En tilbagevendende påmindelse om tab, men også et ønske om at komme videre. Jeg er taget til Israel for at undersøge, om det er muligt for et folk at frigøre sig fra en smertefuld fortid. Kan skyggerne efter Holocaust brydes? Griber denne arv ind i den enkeltes liv og i hele landets fremtid? Og er skyggerne en forhindring for fred? So you don't have any Arab friends?
No. Thanks God, no. The Palestinians, it's not good people. The Palestinians don't want to make peace with the Israeli. They want to kill all the Israeli. And they have a people to share with them, Norwegian, Denmark, everybody help the Palestinian. That's it. Now I'm going to tell you something. Next 5, 6, 7 years, 20 years, they're going to be not Denmark, they're going to be a Denmark like an Arab. Sweden going to be Arab, Norwegian Arab, Denmark, all of them. In France too. Never mind. Next 10 years from now, you don't listen, don't hear Denmark, this language. You hear only Arab, Muslim.
דעות פוליטיות אחרות, זה לא שייך לעניין של המהות, העניין המהותי של התרבות. האמנה הזאת של תרבות בבקעת הירדן, בדימונה, בירוחם, בישיבה, אזרחי ישראל.
Det er ikke min konflikt, men jeg håber på at forstå, hvordan skygger påvirker vores liv. Jeg skal nu møde 4 israelske jøder, der har valgt at udfordre skyggerne.
Ikke nogen specielt spændende baggrund.
Nej.
Men måske skal vi tage bøgerne som baggrund?
Yeah.
Eller?
It seems that you have taken some controversial steps down here, because you are focusing on religions in peace conflicts.
Yes, that's true. I have worked in many controversial issues, both in public life and in civil society, and also in my political career. I've been controversial, not for the sake of controversialism, but because I like to do things which not everybody else is doing. Now, I'm one of those who are not so dogmatic that I don't think that I can be wrong. You know, I've been wrong before, I can be wrong again. Maybe I'm wrong. So I've supported all the peace initiatives. I supported Oslo, I was involved. I supported Camp David, I was involved. I've sat down with people who have written the books of how to blow up Jews, of the jihad, how to make the terror. I've sat down, I presented together with my Muslim colleagues, and we've sat down together with them, and we presented a religious theory. They said nobody ever presented such a theory before. It sounds sensible. I've talked to more than any other person in this area. I've been around more and met people from all over the Middle East on both sides. I think there's reason for a lot of optimism.
שלום לכולכם. אני באתי פה להגיד שיש פסוק אחד בתורה שאני אוהב יותר מכל הפסוקים. הפסוק אומר, ונתתי שלום בארץ ושכבתם ואין מחריד. שהכן אללה מבטיח שיש שלום בארץ.
You look perfect.
Yeah.
My idea was that I wanted to see if it is possible to break the shadows. You know, I raised the question, how do you do that?
I think you can do that, but you really need to apply yourself to that. Is it possible here and now in Israel? You know, I can give you an example of how impossible it might be in Israel, but on the other hand, how the only place in the world where we can disperse the shadows, maybe not break them, but maybe disperse them, is in Israel. Adults, in the very classical analytical sense, have become vessels for their parents' wishes and fears. And we must remember that there's also this underlying assumption for many of the first generation that their children will recreate something of what has been lost. So it's very complex. They have to stand in for someone who died, or sometimes for many people who died. They have to recreate a future which their parents never had a chance to recreate. So with all that burden, how freely can you live your life?
Good. Yalla, let's go. See ya. When we were a minority, when we were persecuted, a second dear, okay? Just a second.
Yeah, of course.
Hello? כן. אהלן אחלה מורן, מה שלומך? נשארתי לך SMS באיזה יום. זה בטח היה. One day we shall wake up in the morning, and then there will be no Holocaust survivor anymore. Not even one. The last one will pass away, and the last Nazi victimizer will pass away as well. And that will be the first day in which the Holocaust will not be a personal experience anymore, but a collective memory. And I would like to struggle over the strategy of the memory. What is it? Did the Holocaust happen to me only, to Jews only, by Germans or collaborators only? Or is it a human phenomena that happened this time to Jews by Germans, but could happen to every other nation? And of course, my argument is that the Holocaust is a universalist, should be our contribution to the universal understanding of better humanity, not just for more protection and more shielded Israel and more paranoid one. And the third element is a very painful one, which angered a lot of people here. This kind of brutality, the vicious circle of humiliated nation, which becoming a humiliating nation, an abused child who becomes a violent parent. This pathological circle can happen to anybody. And whatever happens to Israel in the last couple of years is dangerous, is problematic, is not moral vis-a-vis the occupation, vis-a-vis the Israeli Palestinians, vis-a-vis the erosion of the democratic space. It's dangerous.
We are not exposed enough to anti-Semitism. There is a mix-up between anti-Semitism and anti-Israelism. Somehow, the state of Israel has become the face of Judaism.
The Holocaust in many ways is the omnipresence. It's always here. I mean, you open the paper at the sports section, you have something about the Holocaust. You open it at the arts section, you have something about the Second World War. It's always here. It's like an oxygen on the air, that as if you don't see it, but you cannot without it.
Just because my grandparents or my parents have never been in the Holocaust doesn't mean that I am immune from this trauma that has been transmitted into my generation here in Israel. And the second thing I think is, which is sort of a classical, is what we call secondary traumatization. Many people who work in the mental health profession, but other physicians as well, can be what we call secondarily traumatized by working with people who have experienced severe life-threatening traumas. So if you work with Holocaust survivors long enough, you can earn the badge of a second generation. So I've become one. I was not born one. I didn't grow up one. I probably became one.
That's my parents. I think my mother is pregnant with my brother here. It's a good picture. My mother's parents, which are also my grandparents, two of the children here, almost everybody here except my father and his brother. These two, my father's sister, they all were murdered in the Shoah. That is, I don't even know where that is and what that is. No, that's from forced labor. That's not a good picture for you. So the shadows are there. The sadness is there. But it's not a compass by which you should measure your present and your future. The past has nothing to do with my existential decisions of today. Many of our young people are looking for their identity, are searching for an identity, are searching for a way. Unfortunately, our politicians failed. They don't show a way, they don't give a vision, they don't give hope. To Israel, looking at Israel as only an alternative to a catastrophe. This is a shelter. I don't live in a shelter. I live in a state, in a normal, sovereign, I hope, happy state. I do believe that if we go on with the occupation, we are destroying the state of Israel. We are holding millions of people as second-rate citizens, which is, in my thought and with my family history, terrible. And this is done in my name.
Even when the last survivor has passed away, the story is there. The story is strong, it is powerful, and the question is what we do with the story. Do we create from the story the lack of belief in humankind, which is one way of reading the story, that humankind is only evil and can never be up to anything good, which some people will read into the Holocaust? Or, as I believe, and I think that is the real story of the Holocaust, is that there is a real choice for humankind. You can choose good and bad. You can choose life and death. There's so much room. We have a beautiful, beautiful Jewish prayer. When we say that prayer, we go back 3 steps, figuratively. We go back 3 steps. And I think it means, when we go back 3 steps, it means that in order to make peace, you have to withdraw and leave place for the other. Because you can't expect God to intervene and help us making peace if you're not willing to withdraw. Sometimes it means withdrawing from territory, but sometimes it also means just withdrawing and leaving place for peace.
It's a very sensitive question. Were the Jews victims in the past? The answer is yes. Is there still a needless hatred of Jews around the world? The answer is yes. Does that mean that we have unlimited credit in the bank of morality, in the bank of politics, to say we can do everything we want because we once were victims? The answer is no. Does this legitimize us to become victimizers? The answer is no. And you cannot justify the denial of rights of so many people, so many millions of people for so many years, because once we had a Holocaust.
It's because we are Jewish that they are talking to us about the wall. So there is this ever-growing feeling that the world is not judging us as we should. Of course, there is also a huge misunderstanding here in Israel, socially and politically and historically, about our embarrassing, I would say even inhuman, way in which we treat our Palestinian neighbors. Children grow up into a climate in which we are the strong ones, we are the conquerors, and they are the second-rate citizens. In a sense, maybe even not our slaves, but our source of cheap labor. We not only treat them badly, they are also the people who might kill us. So there is this underlying excuse for treating them badly. And that's why people in Israel never understand why so many diplomats and philosophers and free thinkers abroad compare the Israeli situation to what the situation that was in South Africa many years ago, the apartheid. They say, how can they compare us to them? It's completely the same. Once you conquer a different people and you try to make this distinction between us and them, it's all the same. The reasoning is completely illogical and inconsistent. But many people here say we are being blamed for becoming an apartheid state because we are Jewish.
We have created what we have always said that we wish never to be experiencing again. We have created a ghetto, but we call it the State of Israel.
We are headed towards East Jerusalem. I will use the time until we reach our first stop to give a short historic briefing. This is a driving tour mostly. We'll spend most of the time on the bus and some time standing in several viewpoints. This place might, for most Israelis, might as well be on the moon. Jewish Jerusalemites or Israelis have no idea what this place looks like. And people need to stock water in black tanks on the rooftops because there are water shortage. And the fact that they need new sewage lines in many of these neighborhoods, and that there are no sidewalks and it's not safe to walk down the streets, and that there are not enough schools. Every aspect of the everyday life here suffering from neglect of many, many years. And it was here that they placed this week sort of like a water cannon, sort of a robotic water cannon with a surveillance camera on the wall here, because many times there are demonstrations on the other side of the wall in Bethlehem. And sometimes they throw stones and Molotov cocktails to the other side, and then the border policemen have to open the gates and fire all kinds of crowd control means to disperse the demonstrations, like tear gas, rubber-coated bullets, and other means. Now, this is the tough security reality that got Israeli government to also decide to build a physical barrier between Israel and the West Bank. Closer to us here is the separation barrier, again in two forms. Closer to us, it's an electronic fence, or a configuration of an electronic fence and a patrol road and a dirt road, where this is too wide of an obstacle to use in urban areas. They use what you see in the farther part, which is an 8-meter high concrete wall made of slabs put together and laced with watchtowers and surveillance cameras.
Sorry. What's the matter?
They should just clear off all the city. Just take it off the ground.
For the end of the Ramadan, there is the Muslim people can invite the Jews home for dinner. It's called ilk.
In this, I think in these times, I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think so, because no people have good relationship with Jewish people. If like I have a friend, okay, I bring your friends to my house, it's looking at me, my neighbors, it's in bad things, because we are not in peace with together. It's worry was from each together. No, in peace, no. I can't invite people to my house. It's very difficult, very difficult. Israelis people to find it to my house, it's very difficult. With Israelis people, never can be like that. No, not at all. No trust Israelis people. Just talking bullshit always. If you want something from you, very friendly. Doesn't want anything, no friendly. Not at all.
One second. Shalom. How are you?
Tak.
Okay.
Jeg ved godt, du er travlt.
Ja, og vi har det her specielle møde, som er lidt specielt nu, fordi det er efter den her forfærdelige krig, som vi har haft her de sidste par måneder, og han, som jeg sad med nu, han har vi fået ud fra Gaza, og han er en partner, som har et stort center i Gaza, og det er vældig bevægende, at vi har ikke kunnet selvfølgelig mødes med ham under krigen, har han ikke kunnet komme ud.
De tanker, du havde om dialog mellem religioner, som vi talte så meget om, er det, du bygger videre på nu?
Absolut. Det ikke blevet mindre aktuelt nu, og det er det er måske mere vanskeligt, fordi folk har svært ved at lytte, når de er bange, og har siddet i beskyttelsesrum i flere måneder, og bomber og krig. Og på den anden side, efter krig, så må man lave fred, og også erfaring fra Europa. Altså, Europa har også levet i krig i århundreder, og lever nu i fred sammen inden for de forskellige lande, og mellem de forskellige lande, og det, at man har prøvet nogle gange at lave fred og ikke lykkes, det er ikke nogen tegn eller bevis på, at man ikke skal kunne lykkes her. Jeg ved ikke, hvorfor folk tror, at det, som er muligt andre steder i verden, er umuligt at gøre her.
אני מאמין שיש פה מיעוט פלסטיני גדול במדינת ישראל. יכול לחיות גם מיעוט יהודי בפלסטין, אם זה השלום שנובע גם מתוך המקור שמשם אני חושב שהשלום צריך לנבוע. לא מהשלום שנכשל, שאני מאוד מצטער שנכשל, שניסינו עד עכשיו. אני לא עושה בחברי מה ששנוא עליי. זה העיקרון הראשון היהודי שהילל אמר.
Hej. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hej. 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 Kom. Kom. Kom.
I'm sorry about the balagan, but we are leaving, as you know.
Yeah, I know you are. Why are you leaving now? What's happening?
Anyway, where are we living? For the foreseeable future, the state is going in a direction which is completely liberal, antisocial, with a lot of cynicism. Freedom of speech has been compromised significantly in Israel. There is no process in the foreseeable future. Our stranglehold on the Palestinian territories is getting heavier and heavier. It's very difficult to keep your equanimity and peace of mind under these circumstances. So people who are involved in the peace process are suffering from burnout in this country. You can't keep this Sisyphean work and keep up your hope and optimism when all around you things are going in such a completely different direction. So yes, I suppose, if you were to diagnose me, if I were to diagnose myself, I'm burned out. I suffer from burnout when it comes to the peace process and to in a larger sense, burnout from hoping that Israel will be able to correct itself and become again an optimistic social state.
I come here because I live in Jerusalem and I am in shock and enraged about what is happening here.
No, because you guys are a bunch of Nazis. Go back to Germany. No, we don't need Nazis here.
You hear that? Nazi. A Jew, a religious Jew calling another Jew a Nazi. That's the way they react. Nazi. That's a word that Jews don't use.
the cultural infrastructure in Israel has given up on a social outlook, has given up on compassion. The war has brought out the operation, we are not allowed to say the word, the operation, the military operation, has brought out the inner workings of our society, and it is a dark and sad inner world in which social values are out of the window. There's only we and them. Them are good for nothing. And the split, this non-human, this inhuman split between us and them has become so apparent, and I think that's where the despair walks in, for me personally.
Tolerance towards opinions that are not your own has been reduced dramatically. I saw that during the last war, in the last summer. People could not say, for instance, that they think this war is not justified, which is a legitimate point of view, without paying a very high price, sometimes even risking real violence, physical violence, to delegitimize somebody who thinks or speaks unlike, I don't know if the majority, or unlike somebody else, is actually one step towards the destruction of democracy.
There is a kind of a shortcut at the electric wires of the Israeli. Here is the Israeli who doesn't know the local Palestinian, the local Israeli Arab, who totally does not see any immediate relations or responsibility to the occupied Palestinian in the occupied territories, and therefore does not understand the price that we pay in the West. And therefore, when you say the three working premises are no relations between the two communities, the factor of uncertainty and fear, and the anger against the Western world who is against us. These are the working assumption of the Israeli society, without linking the three.
Again, the Jewish community here in Moscow was attacked, and after the bombing of the synagogue and trying to burn down another synagogue here in Moscow, we've seen again the hands of vandalism in the city.
My own mother went to Auschwitz in 1944. My grandmother was killed in Auschwitz. That's the symbol that sent her to the gas chambers.
We do not know that it is connected to the synagogue. We do not know that it is connected to the former shooting today.
First, there is anti-Semitism. There is anti-Semitism. What, I like it, I don't like it, it is there. The second is there is criticism against Israel. Some of it is good, some of them is appropriate, some of it is inappropriate, but it's legitimate. Third, there is a kind of a correlation done by us and done by others between anti-Semitism and anti-Israelism.
Basic process that we are seeing in Europe and in other places, but mainly in Europe, is the re-emergence of your very basic core anti-Semitism, and they are just putting on the veneer that we are anti-Israeli policies. It's a great way to recreate anti-Semitism. Is that true? Am I paranoid? Who knows? Time will tell.
I think the Europeans should look very well at what motivates them to go on demonstrations without anybody opening his mouth with the swastika, with ISO signs. We should drop all the Jews into gas chambers. This makes me really excited. After all, my mother is from Auschwitz, and all my family was killed in Auschwitz. And when 70 years later, I see such a thing in Europe of today, I think somebody had to open his mouth and say something. I didn't see anybody. Not in the Guardian, not in the German press, not in the Scandinavian press. It worries me a lot. And it tells me, and then I saw a sign, not once, many times. The Jewish state should be exterminated. Is there any other state in the world where on demonstrations people are calling for its extermination? No, only the Jewish state.
We are today in also inside Israel. I don't remember, and I have some memory still left. I don't remember such a low point where both the Jews and Arabs are afraid in Israel. People are afraid of each other. It can pass, but the present situation is even worse than during the first and second Intifada. It's worse than it was during the Gaza war. People are afraid today. And the fear is, you're afraid of different things. But fear is something which some people utilize for bad things. And part of this fear is created because we don't know each other, because of a lot of hatred and incitement, and again, YouTubes can be used to show that all the Jews want to go up and burn down the mosques and build a temple. It's a lie. It's a pure lie,
It was proven that we Israelis react very well, very positively to traumas. Give me a good trauma, and we're fantastic in reacting. 73, Yom Kippur War, was an awful trauma for us as an Israelis. And therefore, 4 years later, we had a peace agreement with Egypt. The first Gulf War was a terrible experience. I mean, the home front and the missiles and the fear. So we went to the Madrid conference. The first Intifada was shocking and surprising, but it led to Oslo. If there will be something very terrible that will happen to the Israeli Jews, we shall react positively toward a reconciliation with the Palestinian. If something terrible would happen to the Palestinian, the Western world will walk away from its comfort zone of talking but not interfering, and impose a solution on Israel. Otherwise, I do not see any real breakthrough. It will not come voluntarily from within.
Would you be able to leave the country and go abroad and stay away and live there?
I wish to answer you very honestly. I cannot live because culturally and emotionally, I was born here and I'm too old. My grandfather in 1929 said there is no future for Jews in Europe. Hitler was not in power yet. And he left to America. And he was a very successful businessman. And he wrote to my grandmother, pack the kids and come over. And my grandmother said, what are this nonsense that you speak? We have responsibility for the large family. I'm not coming. So he went back in 1931. And he ended up in Auschwitz. So it's a very strong question. When in our family we speak about when it's the right time to go, it's a very strong question. So my answer is not a clear-cut answer. It's a clear-cut for me. But and I still have a mother here. But it's not clear-cut absolutely for my kids. Although when they listen to me, they always say, "Oh, Mom, stop this." But I know that in a way I'll feel more relaxed if I knew they weren't here.
Thank you. And goodbye.
Have a safe trip.
Thank you very much. Bye.
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 On the 1st of July, we're out of here. We don't have any furniture anymore. We sit on the garden chairs.
Wow.
All yours.
This is how it is everywhere.
Be careful so you don't trip on anything.
Yeah. Have a nice trip.
Thank you very
Take
much.
care. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My wife calls it the big restart. She says we are going to restart the system and hopefully experience a great change.
So you will be sad leaving. I'm sure you will be.
I'm sure. I mean, you know, it's what we call, the Americans have this brilliant expression, bittersweet. It will be sweet and it will be bitter. And the smells, the weather, the food, the people, the scenery, it's we have a very lovely poem in Hebrew, which I will probably be mistranslating, but it says like, every person has the name that his parents gave him, that his childhood bestowed upon him, that his country gave him, that the food he ate gave him. So we have all these things inside us.
Take care.
I will text my daughter just now so that
Please.
I don't forget.
Yes,
And,
please.
Email me.
So, Ben Yehuda Street, 35? Yes, please. Jeg er selv født skyggernes magt, og jeg har mærket, at de har grebet menneskene omkring mig. Jeg har kendt, at ingen går fri af deres skygger. De er en del af vores liv, uanset vi ved det eller ej. Men det kræver mod at se skyggerne i øjnene. Og det kræver mod at bryde dem.